Well, the news is there, ladies and gentlemen, and there were rumors of it. We had seen suggestions of it, that perhaps the Seahawks, if they were looking for a trade partner, I was reading some of this on actually Bleacher Report the other day, people texting in about it. You know, what about Geno to the Raiders? I'm hearing it's going to happen. It's happened. Geno has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in the upcoming 2025 draft. This, according to all the usual, Tom Pelissero, Adam Schefter, everybody else. So it appears to be real. And wow, that one came out of nowhere. And we talked to John Schneider, not yesterday, but the week before, and asked him about Geno and said, we love him, we're working, we're talking. That was going to be their first, by the way, just a review. If you guys missed the previous John Schneider, previous to this week, we asked him specifically what's going on with Geno. He was going to meet with them the following day. So that was a Thursday. They were going to meet that Friday. He said it was going to be the first time that they were going to have a conversation and get a ballpark about, you know, hey, what is Geno expecting? What are we? Here's what we're thinking, you know, just kind of a let's put it on the table and then work from there. And I don't know. I don't know what happened. If the numbers were too far apart, maybe Geno wanted $50+ million a year, and John and the organization said we can't and don't think that's the right route to go, and they elected to make a trade. So he is on his way to Vegas to be reunited with his former head coach, Pete Carroll.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
No.
And, you know, like you said, maybe it is the dollar amount, which the next question is, does that mean Pete's going to pay him?
Well, Pete won't, but Mark Davis will, because he's going. That's in looking at Pelissero's tweet. He said it's a reunion for Pete Carroll and Smith, who also is expected to get a new contract, and Seattle will need a new quarterback, obviously.
Right. Yeah, and you know that the biggest curiosity to me is, you know, what are they going to do at quarterback? You know, whether it's the draft or whether I don't know, man. But yeah, I obviously. You know, if Geno's going there, he's going to be, you know, I don't know. I don't know if Mark Davis will pay him.
You're shocked.
I am. I'm speechless. I just thought that this was a given. And you know, I was saying jokingly a couple of weeks ago, like, I'm tired of it. I wish they would. Let's just put this to bed. Geno's their quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. Who is he? I mean, he is a really good quarterback. And I'm not going to change my opinion on that because he's not elite, but he is, you know, that next, what would we called it, upper middle class type of quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, I think the trade itself, and I mean, I think it's, you know, if you said, hey, where would they trade him to? I guess that would make the most sense, the Raiders, just because of the familiarity with Pete Carroll. But, you know, the biggest question is, like, you know, we didn't see that much out of Sam Howell.
No.
And, you know, so maybe they're going to look at it in free agency, or
are they going to get Sam Darnold? What are they going to do?
Yeah. Actually, yes. So Ian Rappaport, he just has a tweet here, and it says, the Seahawks and Geno Smith had contract talks, could not make progress. Now he heads to the Raiders. Meanwhile, Seattle's expected to explore Sam Darnold, among others.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Can you imagine? That's going to be interesting because
boy. this is right next to Bregman. This not a dislike, but just in Bregman. Actually, it's not. It's just more about who we've had a million conversations about Darnold. A lot of listeners know.
It's one of those conversations we've had about, like, we have conversations about DK, or, you know, Geno or whatever, but as far as other players, I mean, if they come in and out of the news, we talk about them. But Darnold is somebody that has been brought up a lot on this show. So
a whole lot.
That would be really interesting.
Maybe he's fixed. I don't know. But we'll talk about Darnold in a moment. But this is beyond surprising news, to say the very least. Certainly everybody had seen the rumors. Everybody, I had an article that I had on my phone, and somebody, I think I read it to you, Lefko, the other day, where they gave 7 options for Geno and what could happen there, and the first one was the Raiders, and you know, these were just like, here's some things that could happen. You know, not saying I've heard. There's a rumor that this is going to, just like, all right, this could make sense, or a reunion with his former head coach. And boy, they figured out quickly, though, that they couldn't come to terms financially. So that tells me, just first blush reaction to that tweet that Lefko just read, that their salary expectations probably were just well above what Seattle was expecting.
Yeah, and so but if you look at Gino's numbers last year, he was a 70% completion percentage. That's good all day long. 4,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, but the 15 interceptions, and I know that there were some in the red zone, and I've been like, yeah, okay. I don't understand why that's a problem for Gino, but do I think it's something that, would make him not your quarterback anymore? Is it that bad? I didn't think so, but I don't know, maybe that's the case. But one of the things we've talked about a lot about Gino is that we don't really know him. We don't know how much of a chip on his shoulder has, and then that leads to, how much does he expect to be paid? And maybe that's where we missed out on. We just didn't realize that he was going to dig his heels in, and because it sounds like he wants more money than the Seahawks want to pay him.
Well, yeah, and we'll see what he ultimately gets from the Raiders. I don't know that he goes to the Raiders without the idea of, hey, we're gonna sit down and iron out a deal for you. I highly doubt they're gonna have him come in for just a season and play under the number that if he's expecting, a big payday. I got to believe he got some assurance it was going to happen there in Vegas for that to happen. Not that he has no trade or anything, but I don't know. This is
I'm curious how that conversation goes. Yeah. Like, okay, you're going to trade for me, but how does that doesn't necessarily mean that, right? That he's going to get more than Seattle was going to offer him.
But almost to the DK conversation, would the Raiders risk bringing in a disgruntled player if they say, hey, we're trading for you? Yeah. Oh, by the way, you're playing under your current deal. We're not giving you any more money or an extension. So we're gonna kick the tires on you and see how you do this year. Then we'll talk about an extension. I just don't. Mm-hmm. I don't think they take that risk and bring a guy in like that who was expecting last year. Remember, we kept hearing reports, and I think even Brady told us that Gino was upset about not getting a restructured deal last season, and the Seahawks didn't do it. So maybe he went into this with a level of tension, like, look, you guys didn't do me right last year. You better do it now. And it didn't happen, at least to the satisfaction of his reps and him. What the Seahawks were, whatever ballpark they were in, was not the ballpark that Gino was in. So, that is crazy. That is crazy. Maybe DK ends up reuniting with Gino in Vegas. Maybe they work out another deal. I don't know. This is shocking news.
Well, and
I'm shocked.
I feel shocked. I'm waiting for Taylor Saucedo to walk by and say, dude, they traded Gino.
Yeah, we should get his take on it.
Big Seahawk fan.
Oh, he's a Husky fan, Seahawk fan. But, this is one, again, heard rumors, and people were texting in rumors, and we were all reading the same things. Yeah. But it was just about, if it doesn't work, here's a spot where he could land. Kind of reading those with the idea of, well, yeah, the Seahawks, John's talking about he just loves Gino, and Coach McDonald was out there. Oh, we love him. We love everything about him. Kubiak, can't wait to work with. Saying all the right things, and they were saying it enthusiastically. But the deal is done. We'll see what happens, what that means to DK moving forward. I have no idea what if this has any impact on his future. It's as we sit, they're two completely separate situations, but we'll see what goes on. But now the question is, who is the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks? Because I don't know many people that were texting in saying, give it to Sam Howell. He's the man. Maybe it's Darnold. Maybe it's people are texting in Justin Fields. You guys can text in your thoughts on this. Again, the breaking news, in case you just tuned in, Geno Smith has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in this year's 2025 draft. So text in 866-979-3776, powered by Mac and Jack's Brewing Company. But just, shocked, Dave.
I feel shocked. That was that
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
Yeah.
If you're John Schneider and, ownership, you're like, okay, when have we had the most success? Obviously, Super Bowl 48, 49, that, time where what did we do? We ran the ball and we played really, really good defense. And so if that's where, and we know that, with Kubiak's system that they're going to run the ball a lot more, and that, the defense continues to get better and better. And obviously Mike McDonald is a defensive guy, and that was the formula. And so, and I don't know if they follow suit by drafting a quarterback in the third round. Maybe it's Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback that we talked to the guy from Ohio State the other day. But yeah, I think that's the rationale, and that's how they think they can get back to that. I mean, I totally trust that Mike McDonald is going to make this defense go. And, if they put a bunch of money into that, maybe that's what their plan is. But, getting the running game going, and there's still that offensive line problem, we'll see how much the run game repairs that. And maybe they draft a couple of guards. They got an extra. They said it was a 2025
third round pick. Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe you can. It sounds like there's so many guards and interior defensive linemen in this draft that you can get one in the third round. So maybe that's what the rationale is there. But
that's crazy. And John did say in the interview with him that we asked him something along the lines of, "Hey, we've heard it's not a good quarterback draft, not a good wide receiver draft. It's deep in the interior lines on both sides. Did that remain true to you after you left there?" And he said, yeah, but then he made mention of there were some quarterbacks that threw the ball well out there that we wanted to take a look at. I don't know, maybe somebody caught their eye out there and they felt like, hey, this kid that nobody expected anything from or doesn't have the hype, we like him, we think we can run with him. I mean, who knows? We're all speculating right now. So we're all reacting just like you. Again, you guys can text in 866-979-3776, powered by Mac and Jack's Brewing Company. Do you like the move? Geno Smith traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in this year's draft. It's being that news being broken by Schefter and Pelissero and everybody else attached to it. So everybody's reacting at the same time here, and it's hard to keep up with all the text flying in. It seems to be a kind of a mix. Some people saying that it's the right move, go get Justin Fields. Others saying this is a horse bleep move, and I don't know. I question who it. For me, the question is still the same as it's always been. There's not the obvious solution to it. You don't have him on your roster, in my opinion, and maybe it is Sam Howell, and maybe he turns into a great quarterback, and I hope that is true. Yeah. But as far as who's available out there, Justin Fields has just not been the guy to this point in his career. Maybe he'll be another Sam Darnold getting in the right situation. Sam Darnold is a guy that had a tremendous year up until those last two most consequential games. And he looked like Sam Darnold of old, which is not a good one.
What's the least likely I wonder for texters? Is it the other Sam Howell? Did they see enough? I mean, obviously we didn't see enough from him as far as, filling in. But in practice, we always talk about we don't see practice. Maybe he's running the hell out of the scout team and looks really good. I'm not sure about that one, but I do know that the successful formula for this team has been running the ball and playing really good defense. Now, that was more of a Pete thing than anything else, but now you got McDonald back in here. Mike McDonald is the new head coach, and he is absolutely 100% a defensive guy. And and just look at the moves that they've made. I mean, signing Baker and Dodson and then cutting them and trading them and, trading for Ernest Jones. I mean, they just have been incredibly aggressive. And, I think the good news is, whether you like Gino or not, they're not going to sit. If they think there's a problem, they're not going to sit on their hands.
Well, I guess it is a problem if they felt like if he's out there saying, and I'm just speculating, I want $55 million a year. And they're going, well, we were thinking more like 40,
Right.
Does that constitute a problem? This is not a gap we can close to their satisfaction. Again, the fascinating part of this for me is going to be, what does he ultimately sign for with the Raiders?
Yeah.
And then that'll tell you, okay, that number, whatever it ends up being, was obviously too rich for the Seattle Seahawks blood.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, whatever that number ends up being, they're going to go, okay, Seahawks did not want to pay that, whatever that deal ends up being. Now, Darnold is still, despite what happened in the last two games, I don't think he's going to be bargain basement either. He's still going to be in the 40s.
That's a tough one to figure where he's going to be. I would think along what you're saying, but maybe there's a coach that looks at him and goes, hey, I can do with him whatever O'Connell did with the Vikings, and maybe that's an option there. But yeah.
Yeah, some people speculating maybe DK will want to stay now that Gino's gone. I didn't hear a whisper about a problem between those guys. I know that's an easy conclusion to come to now, but I never heard anything about that. I tend to believe DK is more about what the contract offer was, or if he even got one. He felt like he should get one. But we'll see if there's going to be another move with DK, and maybe this could be a step back year where they trade DK and Gino and they pile up a bunch of draft picks. And I don't know. This is just.
Here's our boy Paul Moyer. He texted me, said, we're going to have the greatest defense ever. They're going to put all the money they're saving on quarterback and wide receiver, and we're going to build up our offensive line and have the best defense in the league next year.
How are they going to score?
Thinking, huh?
Is the defense going to score? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, like I said,
JSN's thrown passes before.
Yeah, that's
right.
Not well though.
Not well.
But it's when he's running down the middle of the field.
Yeah, I don't know if we want that. And people I assume they're joking when they're saying, "Well, you could bring Russell back for a year." I don't see that one happening.
Yeah. No. Yeah, could you imagine some of the people in that building that did not like the way he departed Seattle?
Texts coming in fast and furious. Sam Darnold sucks. Okay, let's see. What the bleep? A third-round pick for Gino? Not happy about that.
Somebody said, "Bring on Aaron Rodgers."
Stop it right now. You stop that right. Could you imagine?
Another one, 425 says anyone but Aaron Rodgers. So,
oh my goodness, what would the reaction be out here if they said we've signed Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know, man. You think we'd be able to get him on the show?
Yeah, it would be. Maybe. Oh my goodness, there's so many possibilities here, Dave, and I don't know if any of them are good. I don't know what the good possibility is here. Again, the obvious candidate to me does not exist. The obvious where we're like, I would love to have that guy because he's available and he's good. And no, we're talking about guys who, well, maybe Justin Fields could find it, and maybe Sam Darnold is this guy, and maybe Aaron Rodgers has got 1 year left in the tank. I mean, there's nobody you feel like that's a no-brainer. You go get Joe Schmagegi there.
Well, another thing that's interesting is that, you bring in all new offensive coaches, basically. And so at some point, John had to sit down with these guys and, some of the existing coaches that are hanging around and talk about and have that discussion, like, what if there's no Gino? And I wonder how many conversations were like that, hey, this is what I want to do to the offense, says Kubiak or whoever, and then John presents him with that possibility. Like, what if no Gino? What are you going to do then? Can that be done? And then, maybe giving him an idea of who he's thinking about replacing him with, which I guess the first one would be Sam Howell. He's the second in line, obviously, but is that the answer? Not from what we've seen, but maybe if you're look, last year, if they wanted to win a game, they had to put it in Gino's hands. They had to throw the ball. Yeah. There's no way. I mean, look, the Arizona game was an outlier where they ran for 185, 190 yards.
Yeah. And
then in any other decent run performance, it was because, K9 knocked off a 20 or 30 yarder or whatever. But, for the most part, they didn't have that. They didn't have that running game. And so, if that's then it's kind of like what Moyer said. I mean, championship football for this franchise has been playing really good defense and running the ball. Yeah,
it's I like the idea that Moyer threw out there about them getting really good on defense and strengthening up the trenches. I'm just wondering how you're going to score. Who's going to be the quarterback is remarkably important despite your defense being really good. So. Yeah, this is fascinating. 206 says, is it 420? Am I that high, or did they really trade Gino? Yeah, this is boy, reacting to this in real time. Not what we expected at all. That is beyond crazy. The text line is there for you. Give us your thoughts on the big move. Geno Smith traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick in this year's 2025 NFL Draft.